Poznań Town Hall. A Ratusz is a historic building in the city of Poznań in western Poland, located at the Poznań Old Town in the center of Old Market Square. It used to serve as the seat of local government until 1939, and now houses a museum. The town hall was originally built in the late 13th century following the founding of the medieval city in 1253. It was rebuilt in roughly its present-day form, in mannerist style, with an ornate loggia by Giovanni Battista di Quadro in 1550 to 1560. The display of mechanical fighting goats, played out daily at noon above the clock on the front wall of the building, is one of the city's main tourist attractions. History. The town hall was originally constructed as the administrative building of the city, founded on the left bank of the Warta in 1253. It was completed around 1300, during the reign of Wacław II, and was first documented in Latin in 1310 as Domus Consulum. It was a one-story Gothic building built upon a raised quadrangle. The cellars remain from this period of construction. The building was extended in the 15th century, and at the turn of the century a tower was built at the northwestern corner. The interior was remodeled between 1504 and 1508. In 1536 the city suffered a major fire, which did serious damage to the town hall. Repair work was carried out in 1540 to 1542, particularly to the tower, but it remained unsafe. In 1550 the city council commissioned Giovanni Battista di Quadro to carry out a major rebuilding. The work lasted until 1560. Di Quadro added an upper story, extended the building towards the west, and added attic walls and a three-story loggia. A new clock was made with 3 full faces and 1 half face, and with goats added as a comic element. In 1675 the tower clock and goats were destroyed by lightning. The tower was rebuilt in 1692 at a height of 90 meters. The top of the tower was destroyed in a hurricane of 1725. In 1781 to 1784 major renovation was carried out on the building thanks to the efforts of the city's Committee of Good Order, and it obtained the basic form which it presents today. A classical-style tower roof was designed by Bonaventura Solari, and on the top was a white eagle with a 2-meter wingspan. On the eastern elevation Franciszek Cielecki painted Jagiellonian kings, and under the central turret was placed a cartouche with the king's initials SAR. The next major renovation was carried out in 1910 to 1913, when black rustication was used to give the building a more Northern German style. The original late Renaissance polychromy was destroyed. An additional story was added, and the goats, which had been absent since 1675, were restored to the tower in 1913. In October 1943 the town hall was the scene of Heinrich Himmler's Poznań speeches. Following major damage in the Battle of Poznań, the town hall was again rebuilt in 1945 to 1954, when the Renaissance character of the elevations was restored. The eagle, which had been kept hidden during the war, was returned to the tower in 1947. The mechanism that drives the goats was replaced in 1954, and again at the end of the century. Renovation carried out in 1992 to 2002 largely restored the building to its post-1784 appearance. The goats and bugle call. Today the mechanical goats butting display is performed daily at noon, preceded by the striking of the clock and the playing of a traditional bugle call. At other hours between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. the same call is played on a carillon, installed in the tower in 2003. The daily appearance of the goats is one of Poznan's best-known tourist attractions. A legend behind the original addition of the goats to the clock mechanism states that a cook, while preparing a banquet for the voivode and other dignitaries, had burnt a roast deer, and attempted to replace it by stealing 2 goats from a nearby meadow. The goats escaped and ran up the town hall tower, where they attracted the attention of the townspeople when they began to butt each other. Because of the entertainment provided, the voivode pardoned both the cook and the goats, and ordered that 2 mechanical goats be incorporated into the new clock being made for the building. Another legend is associated with the hedgenal. This says that Bolko, son of the tower's trumpeter, once took care of a crow whose wing had been shot through. The boy was then awoken at night by a gnome wearing a crown and purple cape, who thanked the boy for his kindness and handed him a small gold trumpet, telling him to blow it when in danger. After these words, the gnome transformed into a crow and flew away. Years later, after Bolko had taken his father's place as trumpeter, when an attacking army was scaling Poznan's walls, Bolko remembered the present, ran to the top of the tower and began to play the trumpet. Dark clouds began to gather on the horizon, which turned out to be an enormous flock of crows that fell upon the attacking army and forced it to retreat. The trumpet was lost when Bolko dropped it in his astonishment, but the call which he played is still performed. Rooms. The interior of the town hall consists of cellars, a ground floor and 2 upper stories. The building currently serves as a museum of the history of the city of Poznan, a subdivision of the National Museum in Poznan. Cellars and ground floor. The cellars were built between the 13th and 14th centuries. There was originally one large room with a supporting column in the center. This was later divided into 4 rooms. Keystones feature the coat of arms of Poznan and a Bohemian coat of arms dating from the times of Wacław II. Until the 17th century, the cellars were used to store goods, and in the 17th and 18th centuries they contained a prison and torture chamber. In the 19th century they were in use as a restaurant. They were later used as museum rooms, and are currently being renovated. The ground floor rooms were originally built in Gothic style, but rebuilt in Renaissance style by Giovanni di Quadro. Only one room retains the original vault. The architect also added 2 rooms with lunette vaults. One of the original uses of these rooms was from the town archives. Upper floors. The second floor of the building was originally used for utility functions. Following World War II damage, it was rebuilt as exhibition space, with ceilings modeled on those from the houses on the old market square. However, the first floor contained the grandest rooms, used for official purposes by the city's authorities. These include the Great Hall, the Royal Hall and the courtroom, described below. Great Hall. The Great Hall, a vestibule, is designed in Renaissance style by Giovanni di Quadro. It was originally used for important sittings of the city court. Over the entrance is a quotation from Aristotle's Politics, and on the hall side a quotation from the 3rd Psalm. The hall retains its original vaults with lunettes, supported by 2 columns and by corbels. The coffers and columns are ornamented. The coffers in the northern part of the room have polychrome stucco decoration showing Hercules and Samson, David and Goliath, and Marcus Curtius. The lower coffers show the coats of arms of Poland, Lithuania, the House of Sforza, the Habsburgs and Poznan, as well as an angel holding a board with the date 1555, the year the work was completed. Artists' signatures, housemarks and representations of the tools can also be found. The southern part contains representations of animals and mythical creatures and deities signifying heavenly bodies: the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn in the Ptolemaic system. Also in cross-shaped coffers of the heads of Moses and of Christ, the latter accompanied by another house mark. On the western wall are two portals dating from 1508 which combine Gothic and Renaissance features. Gold-plated doors contain the Bohemian coat of arms, possibly dating from the time of Václav II. Notable exhibits include a Venetian globe and busts of Roman emperors from the 3rd and 4th centuries, excavated in Italy in the 18th century. The hall is currently used for concerts and for special weddings. Royal Hall. The Royal Hall was once richly decorated similarly to the Great Hall, and was used for meetings of the City Council. It was partly restored in 1954 following war damage. Its name derives from the portraits of kings which once decorated the hall. The hall features a Renaissance sandstone fireplace, moved here from the adjoining weighing house when that building was demolished in 1890. There is also a portal dating from 1536, moved from a house on the Old Market Square. Courtroom. The Sala Sedua was used for minor court hearings. It retains Renaissance mirror vaults, with polychrome decoration dating from between the late 16th and early 19th centuries. On the northern wall are personifications of 4 continents.